Lindy Lee was a surrogate and appeared on behalf of the Biden-Harris campaign during the last election, but has now decided to change ship and is a President Trump supporter. She joins me live. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the programme, Lindy. Just tell us about how complete your support for Harris's campaign was. You were out there on the media saying that she should be president. Why?
I think I was on this program
Yeah.
supporting her. Wow, this has been such a wild ride. And especially this past week is probably one of the most difficult times of my life, to be perfectly honest. This was not how I envisioned things unraveling. I had envisioned reforming the party from within because the party right now is in complete shambles. It still is. People are extremely angry. They're angry at Obama. They're definitely angry at Harris. And Biden is off the reservation doing his own thing. And they essentially reelected 50% of their old leadership, the same leadership that got us into this mess, got them into this mess. And I just don't see how they're going to come out of this present predicament. They are still deeply mired in woke and DEI and the trans and the gender insanity instead of focusing on the things that actually matter to the American people, like bread and butter issues, like putting food on the table, growing the economy, closing the border, things like that.
So at what stage during the campaign did you start to think that there were problems?
At the convention, actually. It was it's very hard because these are the same people that I spent my life with for the past 10, 15 years. It's very, very hard to leave the cult. But there were some things, for example, her inability to deliver, her inability to control the narrative. She told us, her campaign basically implied that Beyonce would be performing at the convention. I actually don't care either way. I'm not a groupie or anything like that. But that was a huge rumor. And the right thing to do would have been to nip that rumor in the bud. But they used that lie to fill the crowd to the rafters. They used that lie to manipulate the press and get everyone to show up at the convention. And then they did it again when they promised Beyonce at the Houston rally 11 days before Election Day. I mean, this is just a very minor point, but it just goes to show that they can say one thing and they'll do whatever
Yeah.
they can to fill the stadium, but there's nothing of substance behind it.
Well, you're right. It is a minor point, and I think that it spoke to an old way of campaigning that Democrat strategists really believed that people cared so much about Beyonce that they'd vote for Kamala Harris because she performed a concert or whatever. The issue was the policies and the delivery. So on policies and delivery, what was it that you actually ended up disagreeing with Kamala Harris on?
Oh my goodness, everything except climate. I'm a huge environmentalist, which actually puts me in opposition to much of the Republican Party at this moment, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Climate change and protecting America's heritage, natural heritage, is very important to me. That said, what Biden did on the border is absolutely unforgivable. It's an absolute sin, the fact that he let in millions of people. And I'm actually from Sheffield, England,
Oh,
by the
great.
way. My family and I immigrated here and we waited in line. We applied. We were in England for 3 years. My mom actually loved English. She preferred England over America, but that's water under the
Oh, it's
bridge.
definitely better, yeah.
Yeah, I miss you guys. And I lost my accent. I used to have one. I used to have a British accent. But anyway, so we came here the right way. My dad is incredible. He's one of the hardest working people you'll meet. And these are precisely the kind of immigrants that we need in America. Not everyone storming across the southern border deserves asylum or taxpayer handouts. I mean, that's number one. And then you had the way that he completely mishandled the economy. He even refused to admit inflation was an issue until halfway through his term. Remember, we had his chief of staff,
Mhm.
Ron Klain, out there saying it's temporary and it's just, oh, don't believe your lying eyes. Inflation isn't actually happening. And then you had the woke and DEI nonsense. Oh my goodness, where do I even start with this? Like, how many genders are there for them? Like 17? I don't know what's going on. Every day it seems to change. And also just the identity politics. It's
Yeah.
so toxic.
And I
I'm
don't think
not
we get this side of the Atlantic, Lindy. I don't think we get just how all-consuming that identity politics has become in America. I've got family who work in HR at very, very high-level organizations. They can't do the job anymore. It's become impossible because
Yeah.
the DEI, the trans arguments. The job used to be about protecting gay people or black people from being abused in the workplace. And now it's gone crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And also, I'm not a hyphenated American. I'm an American, thank you very much. First, they put me in the Asian American bucket, and then they put me in the AAPI bucket, Asian American Pacific Islander. And before I knew it, I was in the AANHPI bucket. What are they going to do next year? Are they going to tack on two more letters?
Yeah.
And why can't I just be American? And it just and honestly, affirmative action, the two demographics that are hurt most by this, white and Asian Americans. And if you look at the data, it's female Asian Americans that are hurt the most because we are the highest performer. We perform the best on standardized tests. And so this is it's toxic. And I'm glad that much of the country is shifting away from that sort of philosophy.
All of these things were noticeable, understandable before the election. So did you actually vote for Kamala Harris?
No, I couldn't. I just couldn't bring myself to. As an influencer for the campaign, I mean, I take responsibility. I'm not going to blame anybody else.
But you were telling other people to. You came on programs like this.
That's what I did. It was part of a job that I wasn't paid for. It was the cult. I was part of the family, and it was just expected that I do this, given the fact that I was one of their most high-profile influencers. And I'm sorry that I did it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have nothing else to say. There's no I'm sorry, but it's just I'm sorry, period. And I should have shifted sooner. It's just very hard. I don't know if you can see, but I live in Philadelphia. Being a Republican is a stigma. I don't know if there's anybody in this building who's a Republican. Maybe one.
What do your friends say? Because you're
alienating.
What do your friends say about this change of heart you've had?
I don't have those friends anymore.
Wow, so this has really upended your life, this decision.
Yeah, it has. I have one friend. It's very hard. He basically said, "How could you?" I mean, it's just very painful because I've loved him we met in college. We'll see. I mean, I have like I have one or two friends, true friends. I don't really need more than two or three true friends. It's very, very hard. Very hard. I do want to say that I used to get texts from members of Congress and senators all the time. All the time, and it stopped after I raised questions. There's only one member of Congress who bothered to reach out. Only one.
So and just finally then, Lindy, do you think that it was Harris that was terrible and so shouldn't have been elected? Or do you think that Trump was better and you're pleased he's won?
Honestly, on July 13th, election was over. And what the Democrats are doing was essentially to pick who is going to lose to him. After the assassination attempt, he became almost like mythological. The way that he handled it was legendary. I even had to admit, wow, this guy has a lot of self-possession. I would have been freaking out on stage if that happened to me. And I think most of us would have been freaking out as well. And no one can deny maybe he's not the most book smart of a guy, but he's an extraordinary political genius. He is. He's just a marketing guru. He knows how to do this. And I'm glad that he's kind of like a bull in the china shop right now. So for too long, Washington has treated taxpayer money as OPM, other people's money. And so I'm glad that he's kind of taking a sledgehammer to all of this. I don't want to be spending millions of dollars overseas on DEI programs. That's not why I pay my taxes. So I'm excited. I'm already working with the RNC to do whatever I can for the midterms. And by the way, I don't get paid for any of this. I choose to do it. I want to. I could go off into the sunset and live a very peaceful life. But for some reason, I'm just like extremely enamored with politics and
glutton for punishment, I think, Lindy, from the sound of it. Listen, good to talk to you again. Thank you for coming on. Lindy Lee, former Democrat donor and strategist who, as you heard, has slightly reverse ferreted and gone all Republican.